I'm Eric Barrett with the Ohio State University Extension. Today we're here to talk about developing and growing a brand for your farm. A brand is very basic, although it's very complicated at the same time. It is the idea, the image of your product or service that your farm offers. A lot of times most folks think of the name, the logo, that slogan that goes along with what you do, like I'm loving it, and colors and designs. So in this farmer's market logo, they really focused on greens to promote green agriculture. It's marketed to gain consumer recognition, and it's very specific to your business. It won't be mixed up with some other farm or farm market. Branding is all about recognition, not just the things you sell or market, but you as a person or you as a farm family. It's that reputation, how you treat customers when they come in the farm or they come to your farmer's market stand. It's how you're organized, how those colors are put together, how your fresh produce or your agritourism operation is promoted to the public, and then what that expectation is of that product. It's a lot of brand management, which is managing a lot of your basic reputation. So how do consumers view you? Not just advertising, but things you do like helping in the community and supporting other causes. Can you name a business, a retail business, that does not have a brand? Most of us cannot. Sometimes it can happen, but it's usually that mom and pop gas station in the middle of nowhere. People have to stop there. There's some other businesses that might fit that, but in general, that brand is necessary so folks come back and buy from us again and again and build a relationship. Most of marketing these days is about relationships personally and through social media. Branding, when a lot of farms first talk about it, they say, well, I don't have livestock. That might be a lot of old school thinking. Some might say, well, I do have a logo, like the Stacy Farm logo here. So what are you talking about beyond a logo for a brand? The brand is a lot about, do you do a good job with branding itself? Do you understand the concept? Do you have a single style that's all your own? You're not copying another farm's look. You don't have a logo like this one for Canton Farmers Market has just corn and tomatoes. A lot of farm markets try to have everything, whether it's that extra pumpkin, that extra beet, and you end up with a very confusing logo. It's that merchandising, eye-catching displays, trying to catch the consumer's attention, paying attention to current things like the romaine lettuce situation. And then training family members, employees to do a good job promoting that brand for your operation. Make sure they understand what that logo is, what that concept of customer service is, and then they portray that to the customer. So today we'll really focus on your passion, building that farm brand or changing it up a little bit to really get it to be as modern as possible. Embrace opportunities for your brand. So it's reading an image, doing the basic improvements, some signage that we have a new fact sheet on, and gaining buy-in from family, from staff, communicating what your farm really does. So you look at this logo as an example here, the Grow Ohio Local Food Guide. It really focuses on those roots, the plants, a little bit of vegetable there with the beets, but it's really simple to read and it's very memorable. Your passion. A lot of us as farmers really want to make sure we portray that passion to our customers, who might be for growing a product or for promoting a fall agritourism or even a wedding venue. So I ask the question when folks talk about their passion or want to get excited about starting that brand, what makes that your business mind kind of rev up? What gets that RPM going? This is an example that I saw at a farmer's market, what we are. They really talk about their mission, but what's behind that mission. We own and controlled by those who invest in us. It's a cooperative. It really focuses on being as local as possible. What is passion? Webster talks about intensive, driving, overmastering feelings, convictions, a strong desire for something. And I put this example in here, these beets that are 4 for $1, these eggplants that are 3 for $1. And I really say this is where we don't have as much passion for our product. Yes, it's a pretty product, the eggplant, the beet, maybe not as much, but what's passionate about that price? that price point isn't profitable and isn't going to be a long-term solution for our farm to really be profitable and be a good thing for our family and our employees as well. We need to try to sell passion more. We look at these yummy peppers that are $5 a quart. Now that's some passion. I grew a good product and I'm getting a fair price for it. That helps me run the farm for a lifetime. Selling passion is more fun, profitable, rewarding. It's less stressful. It's less frustrating. It's less testing on relationships and actual survival of having a real job and operating a very profitable farm. So while it might be fun at first, profitability needs to be the key idea. There's a show I watch once in a while that kind of helps me get that passion back. It really focuses on improving restaurants. If we're a small business owner, this is one of the many things you can do to refocus your passion. It's called Restaurant Impossible on the Food Network. And this guy really gives a jolt to the small business owners. What is your passion? Why do you have 100 things on your menu? Why aren't you focusing more and really going back to the mission of why you're in business? So sometimes it's a jolt like this. Sometimes it's going to a class or a conference. Many times it's just reflection with the team or the family members themselves. And most of all, refocusing is sometimes looking at the numbers. How profitable is each of the different items that we're doing? Take time to charge up, to update your brand and update your marketing. I looked at these red noodle beans. That's kind of cool, but we're not talking to people about is these change to green once you cook them. But I get a lot of things from people of once the season's here, I'm too busy. I don't have time for marketing or updating my brand. People like Silver Queen or the old varieties. Teenagers are a pain to hire. So, and we're always exhausted at the end of the season. So what can we do to charge up to update our brand and make our marketing better and new? Oftentimes we deal with family members, employees. I put this up here, passion versus frustration. I'm really interested in this photo. I didn't mean to take this at the time, but we can see that mom is really passionate about providing a really quality sample of the peaches. And the daughter's like, really, mom, you're being a little crazy about this. Like, you can see the look on her face. So are we being passionate? Or are we discussing our frustrations with our employees and our family members? We need to move on from those frustrations when we develop our brand and make sure that customers don't see that, because that's part of our brand is what customers see every day, like I saw at this market. And I saw this from Dale Carnegie. I thought it was great. You never achieve success unless you like what you're doing. We need to make sure that both mom and the daughter like what they're doing and they understand why they're there. So it's reflecting. It's why do we do what we do each day? Why do we grow these watermelon? Why do we do things like this? Are there secret complaints of staff, of customers? What frustrates us? What excites us? How can we deal with each of these? And this is a time during the winter to really look at these and try to think, what do we need to update our customer service and our brand? It's about that mission and focusing on that mission. So now developing and upgrading that actual brand. So what is your favorite, right? As we look at these, everybody has a favorite brand of something. Sometimes when it comes to different products like Kleenex, the name of the product has become the brand. So the logo is just the start. But all of us as farmers sometimes are like, oh, branding doesn't matter too much. But thinking about these companies and what you do, I would say almost all of you in some way are either a John Deere or a International Harvester fan. But really now we don't call it that, right? International. So in general, what do you think about your logo? How does that start to build your brand? Why do companies in general use branding? We say that branding changes human behavior. Think of that young person that goes to a certain restaurant or buys a certain toy. How do they know that already? I have a 3-year-old and she already talks about different restaurants and toys that she sees on TV, and I'm like, oh my gosh, branding is taking over her mind. But your value really lies within your guests once they realize you have a logo, you provided that good product, you have something memorable for them to remember you. You're changing their human behavior. I'd like to go back and talk about 6th grade science class. We're talking about Pavlov, and he took the dog that's slobbering, salivating for something. We rang the bell. We kind of changed their mind that way as the dog itself. And we get to the point where he's going to salivate no matter what we do. So what we did in this, Pavlov did in this conditioned response study was he rang the bell and he fed the dog that was hungry. And the dog got so used to when they rang the bell that he was going to get fed that even if he didn't get something to eat, he started salivating. So think of your bell. A bell is your logo to really move forward, to get people to remember you. It's a conditioned response to get to them to think of you when they think of eating, or think of you when they think of fresh food or agritourism, things like that. So if you think of McDonald's, this is my point with my daughter, that they own part of nearly every 3-year-old's brain because they do a good job advertising and promoting that brand. So if you can think for a second, kind of close your eyes. Think about what the public thinks is the typical farmstead. Imagine what colors are there, how it looks, how it's landscaped, what fences are there. What do you really think of? And I would argue that on this picture, most of you see a red barn with a white roof and a cupola, right? You see that white trim. That's what people see. So think about, how do I take what people think is a farm and develop that into part of my brand? Making sure we also have not just those colors, that logo, but some common language. So varieties of produce. We don't just say we have pumpkins, we have, this other certain brand that we offer. When it comes to things like sweet corn, people still talk about Silver Queen. The activities we offer. Customers versus guests. What are they? Are they guests? Or are they really customers? Think about how when you go to places like Chick-fil-A, that if you say thank you, they never say you're welcome. They always say it's my pleasure. So what is that thing you say about your farm, or how do you respond to those customers when they give you a compliment? So think about that communication strategy. Some brand updates, looking at values. How do we decide on pricing decisions? What prices get increased? What stays the same? Really focusing on, again, on why are we in business? We have to be profitable. Look at changes in product, services, the feel you're presenting. We need an upgrade every once in a while to see what's actually happening on the farm. So just think of design changes, and one of the big things right now, sleek is fashionable, and farm and wood, barn wood, things like that are really fashionable. Beyond that logo and the colors that we added on, think about buildings, employees, ads, customer service, those kind of things. If you look at this photo on the right there, you see these folks are selling cheese at a farmer's market. They all have clean white aprons on. The guy even has his straw hat on. So really promoting a farm theme that they all kind of look the same. Think at the bottom there, a picture of some split rail. And as we start to develop, how does your farm really look if the people are going to come to it? Are you rustic split rail, that colonial picket, or is it more Kentucky style whiteboard fences? So if you're whiteboard fences, things are immaculate, they're clean, they're always perfect. If you're split rail, you're more down home, more country. Things can be out of place once in a while. So which one are you? Wording can make a big difference in marketing. We see a lot of this with Chipotle and some other places right now. But think of it as this way, and think about how people read it. Out here, you'll find calloused hands and uncalloused minds, the rural lifestyle. Sure, it's a lot of work, but the payoff is a clear conscience, going to bed a good kind of tired, and the satisfaction that comes from getting the job done yourself. That makes a difference for people. They read that and they feel what you're going to offer them as far as a product. Factor Supply is kind of taking this of, we're going to make it, you're going to be exhausted, but you're going to feel great about it. So what can you do with that for your product? You go back to the experience economy that we talk about farmers, a lot of times when it's cheap, it's a commodity. They get like Starbucks to an experience, it's a really pricey product. And sometimes we talk about the memory itself becomes a product. So it's that experience of a really good cup of coffee. Let's try to go back and make some of our products like the coffee bean an experience. So an example here is Witten's Super Sweet Corn. Butter's optional. Think about that for a second. We are now saying you don't even need to put butter on this. We provide an experience because it's Witten's Super Sweet Corn. So think about that as how can you make your commodity into something that's more of an experience. Make sure you appeal to all 5 senses. We talk about how does your brand touch people in different ways. When they walk up to your stand, they smell something good? They see something pretty? Can they hear you say hello? Can they almost taste virtually what you're offering? And can they touch different things? And I know food safety is a concern there, but how can we appeal to all 5 senses? Here's some opportunities to read your image. Here's an example. These are from Washington County, where we looked at a farmer's market and tried to help vendors improve what they were doing. So farm fresh whole hog sausage, right out of the trunk of the car. After we talked, had a couple meetings, look at how much better it is. So they were dressing differently. They were putting things out on the table, putting signage up, and making a more positive experience. Or even, if you can see there, providing some samples. Is this pretty or is it cluttered? You talk about, okay, yes, we have maple leaves on the tablecloth, but can we see the product? So how are we displaying things, and how can we improve upon that? With Grandma's farm here, and she has her display looking very nice, and she's providing some samples. Now she's cooking on the back of a truck, maybe not the best thing to do, but how can we continually improve that? If we look at this photo, this is a farmer's market. What farm is this? Who is it? How are we going to get repeat sales? So if I want to come find a flower lady, what if there's 4 flower ladies at this market? I need to be able to see a sign and see that logo to remember that brand to come purchase again. If we look at this one, we think, again, who is this? Oh, now I see the name that's on the bag of potatoes. So the display could use some improvements to make the brand more memorable. We look at this guy and we think, branding. I know the name of his farm. Yeah, he's got a logo there, but is it very consistent? I see a lot of bright colors on the right side versus this checkered farm on the tablecloth. How can I make this more consistent so people remember me over and over again? And then I look at this and think, okay, there's some pretty nice produce there, but the table's dirty, stuff stacked on the ground. How can I improve that to make it more branded towards my farming operation? I think this is a beautiful display. This is a farm that's displaying in New York City at the farmers markets. Everything's very clean, streamlined. It meets a lot of today's design standards. Their logo is very visible on the signage there at the register where they're checking people out. And things are also food safe. They're in these nice clean bins. So I kind of look at this and say, there's lots I could purchase here. It looks so good. I want to taste a lot of that stuff. So thinking about what is your brand in all aspects of the market. Here's a little close-up picture, and I love this. They talk about purslane here, recently being recognized for the nutritious value. They have tons of omega-3. Use it in a raw salad. So we're not only doing our brand here, we're telling people how to use our different products. So very streamlined. And then what about the farmstead itself? If you're selling produce to your farm or have agritourism, I'm not sure this is the place I would pick out and go to as a farm market. This one, yeah, it's a lot cleaner. It looks a lot brighter. But where do I go in? Where's the entrance to this operation? Versus I go to a place like this. This example is White House Fruit Farm in Canfield, Ohio. They have a big display of their website right there, their logo up on the barn, very welcoming as you come in. And signage opportunities. This is back to those long beans at the farm in New York. Make sure all of your signage reminds people your brand. So this has their logo on it, talks about the product and the colors, and it's streamlined across all the signs look the same. It keeps sales moving when you're too busy, especially at a farmer's market. It gets really, really busy. So you can't talk to every customer. Try to answer their questions using some signage. You're never too busy not to make great signage. Make sure you communicate your concept. A lot of us are moving to grass-fed beef or more organic, more sustainable. Put that out there. This is a great sign, sun-fed beef. I'm not sure what that means, but they talk about we're raising them out in the pasture fields. So try to describe that. But when you do these new things, make sure you're not negative about the other one. Sometimes that can really change it up. So try not to be negative because it can backfire on your own brand. A case study from Chipotle using some of that wording we talked about earlier. It's not just a burrito, it's a foil-wrapped, handcrafted, local farm supporting, food culture changing cylinder of deliciousness. So you can learn about what they do. Some of us don't agree with that necessarily, but they are doing a really good job of marketing their business that way. And they have a whole book and information on it. So what's happening with this? Is it positive or is it telling? So I try to say, are you promoting what you do? So they're saying we only sell what we grow. I don't think that makes much sense to me. I want to see your family with that picture on there, and then saying we grow 100% of our sales items, whatever that is. But then I also look at this product and I'm like, oh, that could use a lot of cleaning up. The packaging's old and the product probably needs washed. I see this as much better. Everything in the stand is grown by me. Here's my name in Kansas City, Kansas. This guy was fun to talk to. He had all kinds of different signage, very specific items in his booth. He did a nice job promoting his brand. He could use a few more tips, but very clean and a very good start to what he's doing. Looking at signage that's positive, please come in. Pretty please. Tourists treated the same as home folks. How can you be positive with that? Versus some negativity or some signage that kind of made it last minute. The one at the bottom, the artichoke world, we saw that in California. It was really interesting. It kind of made people stop. So how can you make things as positive and fun as possible? And then telling, to kind of wrap that up, it's our family, our farm, our lifetime, so pictures of their family. So you're telling kind of the mission of your operation and what you want to do. That's your brand. We make it all fun. This is those yummy peppers again. They also have yummy cherry tomatoes, $4. So they're making a profit off this. What a beautiful display. I want you to kind of just pick that up and buy that product and maybe even snack it with it on the way home. Some beautiful things here. So here's some beets. That's mostly why I took this picture. That just look clean. They look better. I want to buy that. I don't want to buy that dirtier product here that we saw earlier. It even makes the eggplants at this farm look better than the other ones just because of the display. Make things action-oriented. I love this farmer's market, put this whole thing about we want you to act, we want you to buy local foods that we have grown. Please talk to our farmers. And then watermelons, I love this one. If you watch any of those shows that really talk about your menus and what's happening, this guy only had like 2 Black Diamond watermelons, but they're on there as $10. If you have a high price item that's out, people are more likely going to buy the $5 and the $7 item. So think about what your sales focus is for that marketing position. And then there's those sweet corn. How passionate is this? It looks like it was kind of thrown together versus, whoa, I would have never thought about putting sweet corn in this kind of display. We usually put it the other way around. So what does it actually look like? Does it look neat to our customer? Finally, some buy-in for staff, family. Hiring family or friends gets to be challenging. A lot of times for small farms or volunteers. One person with passion is better than 40 people that are merely interested. Think about that. We want them to be passionate. We have to teach them what our passion is, what our mission is, what our brand is all about. If you build it, they will buy, and we're talking about that relationship. So if you build that relationship with customers, they're going to come in and spend money with you. So don't believe in that if you build a market, people will show up. Build a relationship and focus not on the silos or the physical things, focus on the relationship themselves through marketing and social media. If you want to learn more about relationships, Dale Carnegie, we talked about a quote earlier. He has this great, it's old school, but it's how to win friends and influence people. And it's very interesting to really get you refocused and helps out with your brand. So remember that person behind the table that we've trained well is going to be the front line to your business. So we want to make sure they are positive and customers are not frustrated. Too often we avoid conversations. A lot of people, especially in some of our younger folks that work for us, they're not as eager to engage with the customer. So I decided here's the 4 things to really work on to help our clientele or our employees engage the public. First is initiate the greeting. It's not a yes or no question. It's a hello, how are you? You're always going to get fine, but that's all right. Engage them without confronting. So asking them what they're shopping for. Sometimes they're going to answer no, but you might ask about the weather or what their favorite vegetable is. Answer their questions and promote products. So initiate, engage, answer, and promote. passion and new information. And here, I thought this was really a great. Beasley's, I met in Salt Lake City. They translated their mission, their brand, and 3 employees. They didn't even own the operation. It's Ooh Fresh Cookies. And you can look them up online. Really, their display was beautiful. They really attracted folks that wanted to buy a fresh product. So we have other branding resources available through the OSU Extension and OARDC's Direct Food and Ag Marketing team. You can contact me at this email address or talk to me or other members of the team. Thanks so much.